Hi everyone! I have been loving your art projects that you have been sending me the past couple weeks. I've seen some really great artwork, and so this week we're going to do another fun project. Did you know that it is Teacher Appreciation Week? So this is usually a week where we celebrate all the teachers and everything that they've done for us. It's going to be a little different this year though, since we're not at school. So I thought we would do a project just to say thank you to our teachers. So what we're gonna do is something called making a print. Printing is something that I wanted to do this spring with you guys, but unfortunately we didn't get a chance. So we're gonna do a fun, like, at-home version of making a print. We just are gonna need a few basic supplies. One is just some plain paper. I just have copy paper, so that's what we're gonna use. Second thing is foil. Just a roll of foil. Ask mom and dad to rip it off for you. Probably best not to try by yourself because it can be sharp. But you want to rip a piece that's right about the size of the paper you're going to be working with. So here's my paper and here's my foil. Doesn't have to be perfect, but it's about the same size. Okay. Next, you're going to need a permanent marker. This is my Sharpie. If you have a Sharpie, that works. If you have another type of permanent marker, that's fine too. Little ones, don't forget the Sharpie rules. We talk about them in class. If you're using a Sharpie, you must always be very careful. Keep the lid on it when you are not using it. Don't drop it on the ground. Don't wave your hand around with it. All that good stuff. So one permanent marker. Black is great. If you don't have black, that's fine too. Use a color one. The next thing we're going to need are water-based markers. That's just regular, like, Crayola markers. Again, if you don't have Crayola brand, if you have Krang or something else, that's totally fine too. But washable, water-based markers is what we're looking for. And then you're going to need a small bowl of water. And in your water, either a sponge or a rag or something like that. I just got a new sponge out. So sponge, rag, something to transfer the water with. And then I think that's it for our supplies. So what we're gonna do, I'm gonna show you now our sample. We are going to make little teacher appreciation posters with a marker print on the foil. So it's gonna be lots of fun. You can see this one, I used one of my kids' teachers, Mrs. Dillon, so it just says, "Thank you, Mrs. Dillon." Yours can obviously say your teacher's name. You can just say, "Thank you for teaching me." You can find a fun teacher quote online and write that out. No matter what it says, you're just gonna say thank you to your teacher in some way. So the first step is going to be start with that plain white paper. And you're gonna write out what your message is. This is where the permanent marker comes into play. Take your Sharpie and make sure that this step, when you're doing it on the white paper, is done with a Sharpie because we need it to stay put, it's permanent. And then you're gonna write out your message. Here's one of my samples that I'm gonna show you guys. It says, "Thank you, Mr. Bowers." Mr. Bowers is my dad, if you didn't know. And he used to be my teacher when I went to school with Grace. So I did my sample one for with his name on it. And you can see I used my Sharpie and I did some nice bold letters. This is a great time, older kids, if you're doing this, this is a fun time to practice some different style of handwriting or fonts that you want to do your writing with. Middle-aged kids, you can do these easy bubble letters. I'll show you real quick. Kindergarten, first graders, if you just want to write it really nice and big and in your best handwriting for your teacher, that's awesome. So I'm going to show you real quick a super easy way to do those bubble letters so that if you want to try that, you can. So for this one here, I wrote my letter T, okay? And then I start in one of the corners and I went around, bloop, and then down, bloop, kind of making it bubbly. That's what I'm going for. And then right next to it, I did my H. Again, I'm gonna find the corner and bloop, right around, hop, and around, and hop. And that's my bubble around the letter. And then once you have all your letters kind of filled out, ooh, this is a long one. All right, and then you could just do a little triangle in the middle. Once you get there, you're gonna just color it in. So use your Sharpie, again, don't forget this is the Sharpie. And you're gonna color neatly inside those bubble lines that you just made. And it's gonna give you, it doesn't have to be exactly perfect, but it's gonna give you these nice, neat bubble letters. So that's a super easy way to do the bubble letter, is you can just write it and then you make kind of a bubble around it, and it gives you that bubble letter effect. Whoops. I'm using a whiteboard just for the sample, so that is one way that you can do your letters. If you want to come up with a creative way to do your letters, do it. Do whatever you like. If you have a style of letter that you already know how to do and you like doing that, awesome. Use that. This is just one option that you can use to write out your thank you to your teacher. Okay, so that, another thing, older kids, if you want to try some like fancier handwriting with your cursive, this is a super easy way to make it look a little bit neater. I'm gonna write the word thank. Okay, so I just wrote it kind of normal, but anytime that my pen goes down, I'm gonna make that area wider. So see that T that goes down, I'm gonna thicken that line. When my H, or when my cross comes down, so my H comes down, I'm gonna take that area. See how I left a little gap in between there? Then you can go back and color that in, and it makes it nice and wide. Again, we're going up for this section. We're gonna go down here, so I'm gonna make the down section wide. And look how nice it's making it look. We're going up here, come around. This A part's gonna be a little wider. And there, and then this part's a down part, so I'm gonna make that a little wider. It's a little hard to do upside down, but hopefully you get the point. My N stem is going down, I'm gonna make that wide. Over here we go down, so I'm gonna make that. My K, I can bring that out and fill in the gap. All right, so that is a fun way to just kind of switch up your cursive writing and make it look a little neater. Okay, so hopefully that gives you 2 ideas that you can try it for your lettering poster. If you can't do it perfect, or if it's just a lot, don't worry about it, okay? Do whatever you can. You can see on this one, I did the bubble letters up here, but then for Mr. Bowers, I just wrote it all in capitals. Very nice and neat and simple. I did go over it, that's my whiteboard marker. I did go over it with my Sharpie, like I used my Sharpie a couple of times down the line just to make it dark enough so that you can see it well. Okay, here comes the fun part. Now, once you have your poster all done, I did another sample that I'm gonna show you also. Here's my other one. Now this is just a little pro tip, I took my pencil and I gave myself a little curved line, whoop, and I just went like that. And then that helped me when I did my lettering to kind of stay on top of that curved line, just to make it fancy. You don't have to do it, just do it if you want. And so I wrote, thank you for teaching me. Nice and simple. You can see even my lowercase letters down here are just basic letters. I went over them a couple times to make them thick. Okay, so I finished my poster. What next? Now it's time for the fun part. Foil. Get your piece of foil. Foil has like a really shiny side, and then the other side's kind of not quite as shiny. It's what we would call matte, okay? when you're working with your foil, try not to touch it with your fingers too much. Like try not to stick your hand right on top of it. The oil from your hands will kind of get on there and mess it up a little bit. Not terribly. It's not a big deal if you do, but just try not to touch it too much. So I got my foil. Now it's time for my markers. I'm gonna show you guys how I did this tie-dye look for mine because I think it turned out fun. I'm gonna show you how I did that real quick. I did mine in rainbow order, so Roy G. Biv, right? So I'm gonna start with red for my center. Let me see if I can move this so that you can see. All right, so as I'm coloring, let me do this. All right, as I'm coloring, I'm just gonna make a little red kind of explosion in the center of my foil and kind of making it go outward in all the directions, okay? So there's my red. Next comes, after Roy, red, orange. Orange is next, so I'm gonna take my orange marker and I'm just gonna explode out my colors a little bit more. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be like perfectly colored in. That's kind of the fun thing of it, is I'm just making it, my little lines go out and they can kind of be a little uneven. That gives it a little character, okay? Again, you don't have to do this method of coloring your foil. I'm just showing because I know some of you will want to, but there's lots of other ways. I'll show you another example of a way to do it too. All right, so here I'm gonna do my yellow. I wanna be careful not to touch my orange too much. If I touch it a little bit, that is okay. But I don't wanna carry too much of my orange into my yellow. So I am trying to work fast so this video isn't too long. All right, we got yellow, Roy G. Our G is for green. Here we go. Again, explosions, just kind of moving my marker outward all the way around the circle. And I'm moving fast, not taking my time. It's still gonna turn out awesome. So feel free to take a little more time if you want on yours. Next is blue. All right. Hope I can see where I touched the foil. Okay. Rainbow order is just so pretty. All right, got my blue level. Next comes violet. Okay, so here we go. Putting my violet on there. I'm almost out of space at the bottom. All right, keep going, keep going. And it's blending with my blue a little bit, and that is okay. And then just because I have a little bit of space around my edges, I'm gonna take pink just because I like pink. Feel free to use a different color. Or you can start back with red and go back to the beginning if you need more space around your edges and you want to get your rainbow order to keep going. All right, so pink is gonna be my outside edge. Oh, the toddler found me. All right. Okay, so my paper is pretty well covered now. I just used pink to fill up the rest of those edges. Okay, so you can see it kind of looks like it's wet on the foil. Awesome. All right, here comes the fun part. I'm gonna move this back up a touch. Maybe I won't actually. All right, so back to my poster. Here's where that bowl and sponge come into play. Very carefully, I'm gonna squeeze my sponge out till it's almost all gone. Not all the way, we don't want it dry, but just a little bit damp, okay? I don't want it like dripping. Notice there's no drips coming off. Then I'm gonna take my sponge and wipe my poster paper. My just regular copy paper, but the poster that I made where I wrote my words. I'm going to wipe my paper down. I need just a touch more. Okay. It might curl the paper a little bit. That is okay. You just want to be careful. Don't make it too wet. If it gets too wet, it's going to get tricky and your colors will get a little wonky, okay? So I'll show you can kind of see it's wet, it's curling. You can see in the light there. All right, now, fun part. I'm going to take my paper, I'm going to lay it down, and then I'm going to take my foil where I just did my cool print, or my cool marker pattern, and I am going to lay it down on top of my paper. Then, gently, I'm going to massage it. Give it a nice little back rub. So I'm going to rub all over the back of my foil. Make sure it's on there nice and good. All right, are we ready? Let's see. Ooh! Here we go. Look at that. Isn't that fun? So you can still see my black letters underneath. It says, thank you for teaching me. But those colors kind of printed out onto my paper. Isn't that neat? That is called pulling a print. Notice how I pulled that foil off the top. So I pulled a print. I could probably even wet another paper and use that same foil to get a second print. It might not be quite as bright, but you can still see there's some color left on my foil. Ooh. So you could even try, if you want doing a second print, it might not be quite as vibrant, but it would still look pretty cool. So that is our first one. I'm gonna show you one other way, just so that you don't think that you have to use the tie-dye version. You can use anything. So here's my thank you to my dad. Thank you, Mr. Bowers. Sample, and I already colored one, and I just did random colors all over the page, okay? So I chose some colors that he likes, and I just kind of scribbled little spots all over the page, kind of give it like a watercolory look. That's what I was going for. So I'm gonna lay that down there. You could do just stripes of color across the page, so make like each across the foil, I'm sorry, and make just different stripes of colors. You could do it that way. You can make it kind of like a rainbow with an arc and do it that way. You can do anything you want with the markers on the foil as far as a pattern. It does not have to be any specific. It doesn't have to be the tie-dye method, okay? So here we go again. I got my sponge. And, ooh, knocked my markers off. I'm gonna wipe it off. Got my paper nice and wet. And here we go. Got my colors, and I'm gonna lay it down right on top and give it a back massage. Rub it on there real well. And there it is. Isn't that fun? All right. So, hope you guys have fun with this project. Go ahead, and I cannot wait to see the prints that you pull and all the fun things that you guys come up with. And then once you send it, take your picture and send it to me so that I can give you a grade for it. I want you also to go ahead and send it to your teacher, because they are going to love when these start rolling in, just to say thank you to them for all the hard work that they put in during the school year and also during this crazy time of teaching online. So send a copy to me, send a picture to me when you're done, send a picture to your teacher also, because they're gonna love it. And that's it. I hope you guys have a lot of fun with this project, and yeah, I'll see you soon. Bye.